For today's Bookmas video, I am going to be sharing with you every single book on my physical TBR. I have a lot and I'm not going to apologise for it. I have been collecting books since I was about 15, 16 years old. Some of these I've had that long and I've not read them because I just haven't been in the mood, and I think that's okay. I don't see a problem with that. Admittedly, those books that I bought when I was 16, they were mostly classics, and I very rarely get in the mood to read a classic, which is why they've been sat on my shelf for years. But I really don't mind. I really enjoy having such a huge physical TBR. I like buying books, I like finding gems in charity shops, I like having an enormous library to choose from because I have something for every single mood. And obviously there are constantly new books coming out, and while I do love utilising my library as well, I just love having a TBR on these bookshelves. So I think I have about 500 books on my physical TBR. I don't actually know because I've not counted them in over a year. So I'm going to count as I go through this video and we can find out together how many books I have on my physical TBR. I am recording this a few weeks before you guys are going to see the video, just because I'm going to need a while to edit this. So my TBR might have changed slightly by the time this video goes up. I'm sure none of you will have really noticed if I'm showing you books that you know have already read, like it doesn't matter. Let me know in the comments below if you would recommend any of these books that I'm showing to you and which ones you think I should read, which ones you would like me to read, maybe in a vlog or something, up to you, I don't mind. Just let me know, I think that would be really fun. So let's start with an overview of my shelves, and I can explain my thought process around the organisation. And then I think I'm going to grab something to eat and then I'm going to start showing you the books on my TBR. Okay, so these are my bookshelves. Unfortunately, this is about as far back as I can get because there's a desk behind me. I had these custom made, and I will, in a couple of days' time, as you're watching this video, be uploading a bookshelf tour. So if you are excited for that, then do subscribe because I'm going to go through every single book on these shelves. But what we're going to be focusing on today is my TBR shelf, or TBR shelves. So these books here, if you can see where I'm pointing, are all the ones that I've read, and they are double stacked. I had to reduce these shelves. I was aiming to have an entire red shelf here, but I need more space for my TBR books. So those are ones that I've already read. I've also already read most of the ones on this graphic novel shelf here, so don't need to worry about those. Which means I have two TBR shelves here. These are fantasy books. I have a non-fiction shelf at the top of books that I should read. This is my horror and thriller TBR shelf. This is my up next TBR shelf. It starts here. On the left are ones that I've already read. On the right are ones that I would like to read soon. This is my all-time favourite shelf. Obviously, I've read all of those. Then this is another fantasy TBR shelf and another one. These are chunky books that I've already read, or reference books that I don't need to read. These two shelves here are my husband's, so we don't need to worry about those. And then I've got sort of historical, mystery, contemporary, mythology, romance books on these three shelves here. And then further down I've got my sci-fi and dystopia TBR books. So quite a lot of books to get through. Let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to start off by showing you my contemporary, historical, mythological books on my shelf that I still need to read, purely because those are the easiest to get out from the bookshelf, and I haven't had any food yet. So while I wait for my hash browns to cook, let me show you those. I should probably mention that some of these are kind of magical realism also. I've kind of just shelved them by vibe because that's how I work. Let's go. Britt Marie Was Here by Frederick Backman. A Man Called Over by Frederick Backman. The Tiger's Wife by Taya Obrecht. American Royalty by Tracy Livesay. Betty by Tiffany McDaniel. Once Upon a River by Diane Setterfield. A Marvelous Light by Freya Marsk. Life After Life by Kate Atkinson. The Silent Companions by Laura Purcell. The Long Song by Andrea Levy. Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone, and Everyone on This Train is a Suspect by Benjamin Stevenson. Wolf Hall by Hilary Mantel. The Regeneration Trilogy by Pat Barker. Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmus. Loath to Love You by Ali Hazelwood. Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood. The Versions of Us by Laura Barnett. Iris Kelly Doesn't Date by Ashley Herring Blake. Portraits of a Thief by Grace Lee. People Person by Candice Carthy Williams. The Love Songs of W.E.B. Du Bois. Against the Loveless World. The Wind Knows My Name by Isabel Allende. Becky by Sarah May. The Fisherman. Fingersmith. You'll Miss Me When I'm Gone by Rachel Lynn Solomon. Bring Up the Bodies by Hilary Mantel. The Pillars of the Earth and World Without End by Ken Follett. Once There Were Wolves. Great Circle. Under the Camel Thorn Tree. Winter Garden and Homefront, both by Kristen Hanna. The Devil All the Time. The Coven. Girls of Riyadh. On Beauty by Zadie Smith, Night Crawling, A Little Life, This Tender Land, Done and Dusted, The X-Talk by Rachel Lynn Solomon, Light Seekers, Honey and Spice, Conversations with Friends, and Beautiful World, Where Are You by Sally Rooney, Violetta, How Much of These Hills is Gold, Stateless by Elizabeth Vine, City of Girls, Pachinko, The Sun Walks Down by Fiona McFarlane, Happy Families by Julie Ma, The Change by Kirsten Miller, The School for Good Mothers, The Dog Share, My Mechanical Romance, The Zanzibar Wife, The Historian, Love in the Time of Cholera, American Psycho, Cold Mountain, an ARC edition of The Clan of the Cave Bear, 19 Minutes and The Pact, both by Jodi Picoult, Deadlock by Sean Black, Tell the Wolves I'm Home, Memoirs of a Geisha, The Dante Club, The White Tiger, The Bees, which I'm not sure I want to read now that I've read her dolphin book, The Memory Keeper's Daughter, Company of Liars, The Book of Lost Things by John Connolly, Marley and Me, The Lost Library, The Interpretation of Murder, and The Death Instinct, both by Jed Rubenfeld, The Valiant by Leslie Livingston, Roma by Stephen Saylor, Inanna by Emily H. Wilson, Daughter of Sparta, A Thousand Ships, Daughter of Sparta, this time by Claire Andrews, Kaikei, The Wolf Den, The Stationery Shop of Turan, The Seal Woman's Gift, The Sweetness of Water by Nathan Harris, The Night Tiger, Sarina, The Girl with the Louding Voice, The Devil and the Dark Water, The Housekeepers, Queens of the Conquest, Northwest by Zadie Smith, Turtle Moon by Hannah Gold, The Lamplighters, Heart of Darkness, The Mysterious Double Death of Honey Black, The Lost Apothecary, The Snow Child, The Paper Palace, Atonement, Birdsong, Band of Brothers, Six Tudor Queens, Catherine Parr by Alison Weir, and Elizabeth of York, The Last White Rose, also by Alison Weir, The Iliad, Captain Corelli's Mandolin, Tess of the D'Urbervilles, The Name of the Rose, A Tale of Two Cities, Gone with the Wind, Elizabeth and Mary by Jane Dunn, The Alice Network, The Great Gatsby, which I did read in school, but this, I want to reread it, Catch-22, Les Mis, The Bronze Horseman, Labyrinth and the sequel by Kate Moss, and finally, for this category, The Miniaturist by Jessie Burton. I'm going to put all of these back, and then I'm going to get a drink, and then we're going to tackle my sci-fi shelf. And we're back. I have two sci-fi slash dystopian shelves, and these are kind of organised by vibe as well, but also by like size of the book. Some of these are quite long. Let's get going. Voyage by Stephen Baxter, Good Morning Midnight, The Wind-Up Girl by Paolo Bacigalupi, Never Let Me Go, Light from Uncommon Stars, Atlas Alone by Emma Newman, Silo, Dissonance, From Darkest Skies, The Empire of Silence, and Howling Dark by Christopher Ruccio, The Ministry of the Future by Kim Stanley Robinson, The Crossing by Laurie Janey, The Abyss Surrounds Us, The Long Earth by Terry Pratchett and Stephen Baxter, Pirate Latitudes, Congo, Timeline, and Next, all by Michael Crichton, Tracer, Old Man's War by John Scalzi, An Arc of Satellite by Nick Lake, Before Mars by Emma Newman, Time Bomb, Mortal Engines, which again would be a reread if I were to reread it. I'm still on the fence about whether or not to do so. The Circle, Ascension, The City in the Middle of the Night, Seven Eves by Neil Stevenson, Foundation, Reborn by Jennifer Rush, Passenger by Alexandra Bracken, The Echo Wife by Sarah Gailey, Time Salvager by Wesley Chu, Adrift by Rob Buffett, Those Left Behind, Shards of Earth by Adrian Tchaikovsky, The Doors of Eden by Adrian Tchaikovsky, Cage of Souls, also by Adrian Tchaikovsky, and Children of Ruin and Children of Memory, also by Adrian Tchaikovsky. The Last Astronaut, No Fet Glass, The Spare Man, Chilling Effect, The First Sister, Time Storm by Julie Cross, The Immortality Thief, Across the Void by S.K. Vaughan, Ancillary Justice by Anne Leckie, Semiosis by Sue Burke, The World Gives Way, The Blighted Stars, Infinity Gates, Caliban's War, Wolf by Wolf, Poison Princess, which is definitely more fantasy, but kind of post-apocalyptic, The Paladin Prophecy, Flashfall, The Lost World, The Book of M by Peng Shepherd, Red Moon by Kim Stanley Robinson, Mindwalker, Doing Time, Defy the Stars by Claudia Gray, and A Million Worlds with You and 10,000 Skies Above You, also both by Claudia Gray. Abandon by Blake Crouch, Bridge, Incastron by Catherine Fisher, The Brink of Darkness by Jeff Giles, Inside Out, The Edge of Everything, also by Jeff Giles, Ocean's Echo by Everina Maxwell, Birthmarked, The Year of the Flood by Margaret Atwood, The Water Knife by Paolo Bacigalupi, The Fireman by Joe Hill, Pandemic by A.G. Riddle, Migrations, The Principle of Moments, The Deep by Rivers Solomon, Calamity, Severance by Ling Ma, Under Fortunate Stars, These Burning Stars, Stars and Bones, The Last Human, Undivided by Neil Shusterman, The Floating Hotel, The Deep Sky, an arc of The Last Gifts of the Universe, Some Desperate Glory, Beyond the Hallowed Sky, Renegades by Marissa Mayer, Generation Ship, and finally, for this shelf, The Red Scholar's Wake. I'm going to put all of these back and then we can move to my thriller and horror shelf. I have to be honest, some of these I haven't looked at in absolute years and I could probably do with unhauling, but I don't have the brain power right now to think about that, so I think that's a job for the new year. I keep considering unhauling some of these and then I'm like, maybe one day. And they're books that I tend to pick up at the charity shop for cheap. So while I'm sure I could pick them up again from those same charity shops, I don't really want to get rid of them and then just feel the urge to pick them up again. So I kind of like hide them at the back of my horror and thriller shelf. And at the moment I've got the space, so I'm okay with that. I have The Mother-in-Law by Sally Hepworth, How to Kill Your Best Friend by Lexi Elliott, The Farm, The Secret Speech, and Agent 6 by Tom Rob Smith, The Vanished Man by Jeffrey Deaver, Red Dragon, Silence of the Lambs, and Hannibal, all by Thomas Harris, an arc of Elevator Pitch, Dead Rich, an arc of The Murder Game, The Secrets, Bag of Bones by Stephen King, the only Stephen King book on my shelf because it's the only one that I'm mildly interested in reading, Killing Floor by Lee Child, which is a bit of a rogue choice, but I'm told Jack Reacher is a very interesting character to read about. Magpie Murders by Anthony Horowitz, A Fatal Crossing, Halcyon, The Coffin Path, The Hatching, Unbury Carol by Josh Malerman, Pine by Francine Toon, The Family Next Door by Sally Hepworth, White is for Witching, The Haunting of James Hastings, The Fury by Alex Michaelides, The Three Dahlias, The Drift by CJ Tudor, Plain Bad Heroines, Sanctuary, The Hunting Wives, Rebecca, Leech, The Chestnut Man, The Swallows, Death Comes to Marlowe, The Death of Jane Lawrence, Hex, The Reformatory, Lovecraft Country, The Library at Mount Char, The Vanishing Season, The Passage, The Coast to Coast Murders, which I borrowed from my neighbour and I should probably give back, Into the Water, and Slow Fire Burning, both by Paula Hawkins, That Night by Gillian McAllister, Do Not Disturb, The Silence of Bones, and The Forest of Stolen Girls, both by June Her, Triflers Need Not Apply, The Paleontologist, The Break, A Haunting in the Arctic, and this one isn't really a mystery thriller, it's Indigo Ridge by Devney Perry and it's more of a romance suspense, I think, but it's going on this shelf. Next we have my tiny miscellaneous shelf. This is my shelf where I put my immediate TBR books and eventually things just get buried. So while the front of the shelf is definitely my immediate TBR books that I'm really excited about and want to get to soon, the ones behind are basically all kinds of genres that wouldn't fit on my other shelves. I'm not proud of it, but at the same time, it doesn't really matter. So this is the last little shelf to go before I get onto my fantasy bookshelves. And to be honest, most of these books are fantasy also. We have The Shadow of What Was Lost, A Conjuring of Light by V.E. Schwab. I've read the first two books and I really want to reread them before I read the last one. Stormfront and Full Moon by Jim Butcher. Homecoming by Kate Morton. An arc of Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. Realmbreaker and Blade Breaker by Victoria Aveyard. My Heart is a Chainsaw by Stephen Graham Jones. The Covenant of Water. Trespassers. In Nightfall, Frenchman's Creek, Weather Girl, an arc of A Dark and Drowning Tide, Immortal Longings by Chloe Gong, The Silence of the Girls, The Girl of Fire and Thorns. This will be a reread, but I remember nothing from this. Evocation, Onyx and Ivory, An American Marriage, Ascendant, The Pallbearers Club, and Illusionary. Some non-fiction books to show you, but I'm too short to get them all out and then back in again because this bookshelf goes right up to the ceiling. So yeah, here they are. I'm sorry this is so wobbly. We have Empire of Pain, Forensics, The Wager, Survival in the Killing Fields, The Anglo-Saxons, Babylon, The Power of Geography, History of Ancient Britain, The State of Africa, Romanovs, Borderland, Furiously Happy, Black and British Empire Land, The Indifferent Stars Above, Out of Thin Air, The Secret Barrister, The World, A Family History, 1491, Buried, I Am Malala, Murder in the Neighbourhood, Killers of the Flower Moon, Unnatural Causes, War Doctor, Gulag, The Crusades, Chernobyl, Chaos Monkeys, Pegasus, Sugar in the Blood, White Rage, The Black Tudors, Natives, The Six Wives of Henry VIII, Erebus, and The Geisha of Gion. And then these non-fiction ones I can reach. Sins of My Father, I Love Russia, Reporting from a Lost Country, Undoctored, The Gates of Europe, The Climb, and The Last Blue Mountain. Okay, next is my fantasy shelf, or my fantasy shelves, this one here to be specific. Some of these ones I definitely received for free unsolicited, and again I could probably unhaul some of them, but I have a mild interest in everything here. I don't really want to, that's why I have so many shelves. So let's get started. I have The Map of Time, Gardens of the Moon by Stephen Erickson, Age of Myth by Michael J. Sullivan. This arc that I received in 2020 before everything went to crap, and I can't actually see the title. It's something about the Sisters Grimm, and it might actually be called The Sisters Grimm, but I don't want to open it because it's kind of like a keepsake at this point. Since I got it pre-pandemic. The Left Hand of God, The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin, The Bone Witch by Rin Chupeco, Dagger Spell, An Arc of A Throne of Swans. This was another 2020 book that I just completely forgot about during everything that went on. Dragon Pearl, Spirit Gates, Vox, which is one of the middle books of the Edge Chronicles, The Glass Sentence, Labyrinth Lost, Hereafter, The Looking Glass Wars, Castles in Their Bones, Trail of Lightning, The Crown Tower, She Who Became the Sun, Nocturna, Vampires of El Norte, Courting Darkness by Robin Lefebvre, Shadows of the Short Days, The Boy with the Porcelain Blade, Harrow the Ninth and Nona the Ninth, Promise of Blood, Twin Crowns, The Crimson Crown, The Thousand Names, Murder at Spindle Manor, Daughter of Darkness, We Hunt the Flame, Beneath the Citadel, The Final Strife for the Wolf, A Queen in Hiding, The Warrior Heir, Son of the Storm, A Dark and Hollow Star, Fireborn, The Drowned Woods, The Storm Crow, A Deadly Education, The Scarlet Alchemist, and Bitter Blue. Obviously we are doing this shelf now. Pomegranate Gates, Red Tigress and Crimson Rain, 12 Kings, Kings of the Wild and Bloody Rose, The Ninth Reign, Daughter of No Wilds, Wisteria, The Unbroken, Army of the Cursed, The Pariah, The Phoenix King, Wolf Song, The Jasad Heir, Bonesmith, Daughter of the Beast, Wrath of Olympus, Little Thieves, The Winter Road, Beasts of Prey, Malice by John Gwynne, The Killing Moon, Star-Crossed by Josephine Angelini, which is a complete throwback to 2010, The 100,000 Kingdoms, A Dance of Cloaks, The House of Shattered Wings, The Obelisk Gates and the Stone Sky by N.K. Jemisin, The Obsidian Tower, Hunted by the Sky, Spellslinger, Stranger of Tempest, Forest of 1,000 Lanterns, A Taste of Gold and Iron, Strange Weather by Joe Hill, The Child Thief by Brom, The End of Magic by Mark Stay, Halflings, Innocent Darkness. I don't know which order these go in, but I have A Game of Fate, A Touch of Darkness, and A Touch of Ruin by Scarlett Sinclair, Raven Cry, Ash Princess, and The Starless Sea. On my third fantasy shelf, I have Flamecaster, Sea of Shadows, Redemptor, The Candle and the Flame, Eon, What Wars, The Assassin's Apprentice, The Invisible Library, Red Sister, The Blood Print, The Never Tilting World, The City Stained Red, Once Upon a Burning Throne, The Rise of Kyoshi, The Shadow of the Gods, The Emerald Atlas, The Unspoken Name, Girl Serpent Thorn, Daughter of Smoke and Bone, Half a Soul, Hench, The Old Drift, Sweet Black Waves, The Ring and the Crown, Shadow and Flame, the sequel to Onyx and Ivory that you saw earlier, The Jasmine Throne, Unbound and Defiance, Winterkeep, Reign of the Fallen, The Oathbreaker's Shadow, The Witch and the Vampire, God Blind, The Book of Witching, Stormcaller, and The Providence of Fire, Fate of the Fallen, Sabriel, Inkhearts, The Reckoning and the Awakening, The Queen of the Tearling, The Letter for the King, Blackwing, The Girl King, The Bird King, Hollow Empire, Rune Marks, The Lord of the Rings, Swords Point, The Relic Guild, Finnegan of the Rock, Bloodsong, Frostbitten and No Humans Involved, both by Kelly Armstrong, Too Like the Lightning, For Darkness Shows the Stars, The Wizard Heir, Seraphina, Bone Cries Moon, Red Wolf, Sky Hunter, Empire of Sand, The Golem and the Jinni, Age of Ash, The Ruin of Kings, Tracer's Blade and Night Shadow, The Shadow Queen, The Night Circus, The Gutter Prayer, The Rage of Dragons, City of Lies, These Violent Delights, The Stars Undying, One Dark Window, The Darkening, Magic Bites, Daughter of the Moon Goddess, and The Stardust Thief. And I've just realised that although I said that this is my entire TBR shelf here, I actually have one tiny bookshelf downstairs, so let me show you which books I have on there, and then we can say goodbye. And then here is my downstairs shelf. I'm sorry I'm not getting all of these out. I've got XX, Sister Song, Cross Stitch, which is Outlander, Feed, A History of Loneliness, Nemesis and the Red Breast by Jo Nesbo, and The Devil's Star, actually. Chosen Ones by Veronica Roth, Lord of Misrule and Glass Houses by Rachel Kane, The 10,000 Doors of January, How Long Till Black Future Month, Storm Chaser, Girl, Woman, Other, Bad Blood, Americana, A River of Royal Blood, Tiger's Curse, Pleasure Unbound, Feast of Fools, Ultraviolet, and The Princess Bride. And then this one down here is my very last shelf, for real this time. I cannot get this camera to go lower. So let's look at it sideways. A Memory Called Empire, Norwegian Wood, Shadow of the Wind, The Goldfinch, A Discovery of Witches, Crowfall, The City of a Thousand Faces, The Light Fantastic, and finally,
once and for all, City of Stairs.
So I don't think that's quite the longest video I've ever done, but it comes pretty close. That took me forever. It's now getting dark outside. I honestly have no idea how many books that was. I'm gonna take a guess and say 520, because last time I counted my TBR, I think I was at like 450. And I feel like it's gotten bigger. I'm going to put the final number on the screen. Hopefully editing Amber has done this the entire way along so you could keep track. I did just try to count some of my shelves and then I lost count halfway through and got frustrated. So I won't be doing that again. I'm very intrigued to see how big my TBR is. I find it quite impressive and it makes me very happy. So it's definitely a good investment in my opinion. Like I said at the beginning, if you've made it this far, let me know in the comments below which books out of all of these you think I should read. You can leave as many comments as you like. If you want to post them in multiple comments, obviously feel free. And with that, thank you so much for watching this epically long video and I will speak to you all in the next one. Bye!